You are definitely not Travis. You
Travis?
are.
Travis,
I'm
are you
hearing
there?
myself in the stream on
Anybody
the
seen
echo.
Travis?
Wow, it's like Inception or something going on here. You are my son, Zach Comm.
That's correct. I have 100% more genetic connection to you than Travis does.
Co-host now with 100% more genetic connection. My son Zach, the co-host of today's episode number 38 of the Nifty Show. Here we go.
Looking into the future, what do we see? It's lined with digital collectibles, we call them NFTs. Games, trading cards, digital art, and those crypto kitties. Travis and Joel are the hosts, you'll know. Travis and Joel say this won't blow. They're locked and loaded, so ready, set, go! It's the Nifty, really kind of spiffy. The Nifty Show.
Number 38 right here, all up in your eyeballs. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. You know, my favorite thing about the whole little theme song you've got there is that it really puts into perspective how incredibly expansive the space is already. And it's that video is already crazy outdated, right?
Yeah, and that's the third version of it. This is episode 38, so we've been doing this, for about 8 months, right? And that's the third version of the video, and I feel like, all right, it's time to do another one again and put some new stuff in there. I just can't keep up with it all. It's hard to keep up with it all.
It's freaking impossible. I mean, blockchain on its own, just cryptocurrencies on their own, it's impossible to keep up with. But now NFTs are exploding in a way that I've never seen.
So you're here today because Travis is heading out to Eastern Europe on a plane, and I'm sitting on my sofa doing this on my laptop because I'm moving. My place is almost empty. This sofa is already sold. I've just asked the buyer to wait to pick it up for a couple days so I have a place to sleep for a couple nights. But if you were to see my place, it's mostly barren. And so the next Nifty show will be from a new location, which I will share with you guys in the future. But not
Exciting.
quite. Yeah, very exciting. We've got 2 drops that are going to take place today. 2 guests, 2 drops, 2 scoops of whatever you prefer. The guest we'll have dropping in first has done something really innovative on the Ethereum blockchain with NFTs called Proof of Beauty. And he'll be here shortly. And then after that, we have a repeat guest, a great friend of this show and the Bad Crypto podcast. 2 great friends, actually, VESA and Brittany Kaiser of Own Your Data Foundation. They're working on a collab together for an art project, and it's going to be epic. And you're going to have a chance to pre-order the art project today by purchasing a piece of art. Art for art is smart. I might fart. Don't start. And also, Zach, we're going to be showing off the latest edition for the Bitcoin collection, the 2010 Bitcoin price piece, which is going to go on sale on the 21st of March. And we have a special, unique Bitcoin Elite drop that we're going to do just about an hour from now.
That's going to be a fun reveal. I've been looking forward to unleashing this one.
Is Sprite there?
Her little like bed makes crinkly noises, which are the same noises that she makes when she's chewing on something plastic that she's not supposed to. So sometimes it still triggers my reflex.
Oh, bad kitty. So I want to show you guys something cool. Art by Alex. Alex is the guy who does a lot of our cool 3D badges for Blockchain Heroes. He's branched out into doing his own collection, and I have commissioned him to create some art just for us and for the Bad Crypto podcast. And I want to show you guys this piece right here. Look at this. We minted 21 of these unique pieces. Travis wanted number 21. I took number 1. We've given a few out to our producer. Zach has one, and we're going to be making some of these available to some of our fans here in the near future. But right now I see we have a guest here in the house. He is Proof of Beauty himself, David's son. welcome
Hey, nice to meet all of you guys.
Yeah, brother. Good to meet you too. This is my son, Zach.
Hey.
What's up?
So we have David's son, we have my son, and I got some puns on the way. So Travis discovered the work that you're doing, and he thought it was absolutely fascinating. I've not had as much time to dive in, but Zach has. So you guys can go check it out at pob.studio, and I'm going to pull it up. But why don't you tell us what this is all about?
Yeah. I've heard so many different metaphors people have used, stories to explain it. So I'm going to give the one that I like the most. I think one way to interpret this is kind of like a penny pressing machine. You know, those you see at the carnival where you put like two quarters in and then a penny, and then you crank the machine and then you get this nice memorabilia. And the penny is worth a lot more, hopefully worth a little bit more than just a penny. In many ways, Proof of Beauty's hash is the Ethereum's edition of a coin pressing machine. You put in a transaction hash, and we go out and fetch all the metadata we need, right? So gas prices, the nonce, which addresses were sent and received, all of this data, and we actually generate a generative artwork for you through using all this metadata, right? So it's like strongly correlate, just like how, when you put the penny in, the penny in many ways is part of the artwork, right? So that's kind of what Proof of Beauty hashes, right? And so we recently sold out season 0, which is about 2,555 of them, and we're currently working on season 1. So with season 1, I guess we're going to have a new batch available to mint. Let me think, what am I going to miss? Yeah, so if you want to get one right now, it's only on the secondary market. But if you do want to try it, you can put any kind of transaction hash you want, within the search bar and see how it would look like visually. It works with all 1 trillion or transactions, and whatever the latest block is, go try and fetch and give it a whirl. That's Proof of Beauty's hash.
I don't understand.
Well, what he's doing is he's created this system that marks a moment in time where a transaction takes place with a unique visual, right? So these become permanent references back to meaningful transactions.
Right, but why? How is the AI working to create this piece I'm looking at right here? What's the data that is causing it to be these shapes and colors and distribution?
If you could click on one of these, you'll see some of that data available already. You can see on the artwork features, you can see how the gas limit affects the texturing you see on the artwork. You see how gas price affects the sizes of the things. The nonce affects how visually complex it is, right? So these are all kind of like mapping to parameters, right? So this is a Uniswap transaction. You're going to get those colors, right? And whoever sent it, these are all deterministic. Right. So if I were to find another transaction sent by 0x9C, you're going to see the same exact gold, green, kind of minty sheen on that artwork. Right. So that's kind of how it's, I guess, to answer your question, this is how we take, transaction data and convert it to visual information. So you could do this with any piece. You can try on any gallery. It works for all 1 trillion transactions.
But who's counting?
I guess Etherscan's counting for that.
Now, would you say that the intent of what all of these pieces looks like was inspired by fractals? Because that's what it personally reminds me of.
That's a great question. At a purely artistic level, it's very easy for things to look fractally-esque with generative art. I wouldn't say I'm strongly inspired by fractal works. I think, a natural tendency of creating pattern-based or rule-based artworks. It does use some recursive processes that you can suggest to be fractal in nature, but yes and no is my answer to that. Yeah, yes and no.
It could be that my inborn pattern recognition is just going a little bit haywire on that point.
No, I've heard this many times. So this is like part of, I guess, all generative art is you can start picking on the patterns, right? And I think that's both its best part as an art process, but also in many ways, for many people, something that, creates, it makes it look, I guess, repeatable, or there's patterns to it, right? So I put a lot of work into making this work such that, if I were to give you 30,000 of these, this should look fairly visually different. Even though there's a lot of consistent patterns, they should look interesting if I were to give you, a very large set, right? So that's one of the many challenges when you create generative artworks, is how can you have pattern but yet also create visually interesting things again and again and again.
So I'm looking here on OpenSea. These are pieces of POB that have been listed. Who names them? Is that like, when you own it, can you name it?
Yeah, so currently it's, the owners get to name these artworks. That's something that they retain as a right. And so, yes, the owners name it, and we obviously this kind of raises an interesting question, is how can we trust this? And at this point, we're still in a phase where it's kind of like do your own research style. We do have a great Discord community that kind of like verifies each other's works, to kind of say, hey, can you check this? Am I correct in saying that this is the DAO hack withdrawal transaction? Is this actually, in fact, the most expensive transaction ever to be sent on the Ethereum blockchain? So there's been a lot of people doing that, but also to address this, we are actually working on creating like almost a community voted upon, I guess, historians panel that would, give like almost like a Twitter verification, but instead of a Twitter verification, like a historian's verification that, what you wrote is verified by this group of people. And that's something we're working on right now.
Now, you said that a series 1 was on the way. Would you be able to tease how the direction of this might go with series 1?
Yeah, I could definitely speak on some things. Some things I'm going to keep closer to the chest. Season 1, I think, in many ways, is our continued exploration of what history means in the blockchain community, right? It is both communal but also yet personal, right? And for many, right, like myself included, our very first transaction is sending from Coinbase to our own private key. It's there's some amount of nervousness to it, right? Like buying your first NFT, making your first trade. There's always some amount of energy to that, some amount of emotions, right? When you get your Uniswap drops. So season 1 is thematically around how can we, celebrate these kind of moments of history, right? I think our first series, season 0, is about, just a rather blank slate where it's a, hey, let's go collect history, right? And I think moving on, we want to really start to explore different themes in history. So season 1 will have its new visual generative process. It's going to have its own, minting kind of experience around that would be more inclusive for people to mint their own history. And there's all kinds of things that we're thinking about there. But it's essentially around, we really want to kind of promote this idea of celebrating your history. In many ways, that's also our history, but like your first steps or your best trade or some people like would be I've seen people do with season 0 is mint their transactions that people have done to hack them or scam them, right? So it's a way to celebrate us, right? So that's series 1, season 1, and it's coming in mid-April. That's our target.
So what was the price on these that sold out? How long did it take for them to sell out, and what's it's going to be on season 1?
Yeah, so we had an interesting pricing mechanism. If you were to scroll all the way up and hit the Genesis, there's on the right there, and you could scroll down a bit. I think it's one of our cards here, and this kind of gives you the best visual here. Is we sold 2,555, and the first 1,000 was priced at 0.05. So this is a bonding curve on price mechanism. And then the next 1,555 were growing at a steady linear rate of 0.001. So the last mint was about 1.604 ETH, if I remember correctly. And so we sold these out about 12 days ago, if I remember on top of my head, and the project was launched about late January. So we definitely started to pick up some steam during February, and then people were really engaged about finding history, finding moments, and then finding ways to get it minted. So that was that, and so season one, we're going to be revisiting a lot of interesting ways of how can we price this, reflective of our theme about personal history, right? It may not make sense to price it so expensive, right, for just your first NFT transaction, but it may make more sense for, let's just say, the very, very first transaction on, depositing 32 ETH into a ETH2 deposit contract, right? That's has a lot more speculative value, could be appraised better. So I'm not going to speak too much on the details because that's something we're figuring out, but we're looking at this problem as who do we think the target audience is per season, and finding the best pricing to reflect that.
So does that mean when I go to buy one, I just put in a text ID, whether it's a transaction that I created, or does it have to be in my wallet? Like I got to connect my MetaMask, and that text ID for the one I'm created has to be in my history?
Great question. No, you could try any transactions, at least in season 0 and season 1. We can obviously parameterize that and change that behavior. It could be you could only put transactions that you held ETH during that time, and that transaction was actually mined, right? So it's kind of like rewarding people for being there when the actual event happened, or we can do even crazier stuff, right? But for season 1, it's all transactions will be open for grabs, but we'll have a pricing mechanism that rewards personal history over everything else. I'm trying to skirt around what I can say here.
It would be fun to see like a proof of beauty Crypto Kitties edition, right? That
yes.
Every text, every one of them would have to be a reimagining of the transaction that took place for buying or selling a crypto kitty.
Yes. Yeah. That's been something that we keep on coming back to, is like we would love to celebrate even these specific like kind of slices of our collective history. We were really like thinking, like, what can we do to make, maybe if we were to confine it to say just Uniswap transactions, right? And that would mean that we have, from one transaction, we could get so much more data out of it, right? We can tell what token was transferred to what, right? What happened to liquidity pools or whatever, right? And this could be the same with CryptoKitties, right? Like, was this, a breeding transaction, if this was a buy or a sell or whatever, right? With this, we can inform a richer experience around the artworks, right? So I think at a creative level, we're super interested in stuff like that. The seasonal model that we have allows us to creatively go in that direction. So it's all good ideas, and it's a matter of time and effort, and a lot of elbow grease to get there.
Zach, go ahead.
I know I'm probably speaking pretty far out into the future, but I personally love to see this sort of thing enter the third dimension, because right now there are these 2D images, but if there was like a unique sculpture that could be rotated and manipulated and still held all of that unique food, that would be really cool.
Yeah. If you could, we technically actually have that, but it's only for owners. So if you are an owner, if you could go on my Twitter or on Proof of Beauty's Twitter and search like Parallax, there I have had a video there. But you can, if you are the owner, like play around with the card, and you can see kind of like this nice layering 3D effect on these artworks. And because they're generative by nature, all the data's there, I can do those kind of things. We're also very interested in physicality. How do we present this in the physical world and make it tangible at nature? And with that, we're working with a muralist to have a community vote, choose one of these, and we'll paint it on a wall, make it feel larger than life. Because I think we're all very used to seeing NFTs, confined to a screen, and we were like, what if we can blow one of these NFTs up and have it take over your whole peripheral view? I think that's very interesting. We're interested in we have communicated with some artists and say, hey, can you do like a 3D, I guess, visual, a 3D representation in real life, right? So you can maybe like hang layer 1 off of strings, and the next layer is like a little bit behind it, and you can walk around it as well. So we're very interested in those kind of things, and then how can we take an NFT that's an image and really give it life, and really make it have a deeper story. And they're all in progress.
Wow.
You know.
Well, this is really cool, David. I'm glad you were able to jump on here.
Yeah.
And I understand much better now. And I'm sorry that I missed this first sale. There's so much going on. Nobody told me, and it was 12 days ago, and I'm like getting all the FOMO.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for season 1. I guess we'll be talking about it on Twitter. We're working hard on it, and I'm very excited for season 1. We're trying a lot of new ideas.
Let us know here. Be sure to
Yep.
let Travis or myself know, and we'll let people know. So very
Absolutely.
cool. POB.studio, Mr. David's son. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wow. Zach, you could do the same with really any chain, right? If you wanted to say, all right, we're going to create generative art on blockchain heroes. You could totally do that, right? And it goes in the blockchain, and what does it create? I don't know. Maybe VESA would know. VESA, you can come on in, dude. Oh, we see you. You can't hide now.
I'm trying. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Have you met my son, Zach?
Hey, Zach, I've heard a lot about you, and I have we met before on a stream, not live?
Some brief exchanges. But,
Yeah, cool.
again.
Yeah, I mean, Zach is the one responsible for ideating Brightstroke. So he helped bring the hero you inspired to life.
Thank you so much, sir.
It was a pleasure.
He's an artist of the mind. Yeah.
As are we all, I think, in this whole thing. So fun to be with you. Richard is coming.
Yes, we have two people who inspired heroes with us. Actually, there's 4 people who inspired heroes. All right here. We've got, 3.5. Me being half of Sooth and Sayer, one being Chaos Theory, which is Zach. Of course, VESA is Brightstroke. And then the one and only Data Avenger, Brittany Kaiser, the whistleblower from Cambridge Analytica and the founder of the Own Your Data Foundation. How you doing, Brittany?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on today, Joel.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Zach.
Yeah, great to meet you as well.
Also, Zach is, the one who ideated Data Adventure and gave you that little pet bot that,
Yes, I love that. My drone, it's so good.
yeah, is it hovering around there somewhere?
It's so good.
Do you kind of wish you had one for real?
Yeah, it's, I loved it. I loved it. When that came out, it was my biggest celebration. The first time I had been, turned into a superhero, and a blockchain superhero, no doubt. So,
And you out-hatted us all again.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, you two were collaborating. The meeting of the hero minds have come together, and you guys are working on something. I don't even know exactly what it is. I know what the pre-sale is, and we're going to have a special sale today, a pre-sale of this work of art you're working on. And I think I'm not going to show it yet. I've got it set to go live we better talk fast. It goes live in 10 minutes. So, VESA, tell us what you're working on.
Well, I have the incredible, distinct privilege of not only knowing a little bit about the story, as most of us do, of what Brittany has gone gone through and are still actively fighting and doing. And for people who might be unaware, if you've lived under the rock and you haven't heard of Cambridge Analytica and the incredible story that Brittany is quite interwoven with, I'd recommend the Netflix documentary, The Great Hack. And it sort of ties in with this and the social dilemma as well. It's such an incredible story because it's a personal, touching story, and it has a financial aspect to it, and kind of how life throws you into a whole curveball, and you fight with your values, and you fight with how to survive and then maintain your integrity and do all of these kinds of things that almost everyone can relate to. But then there's an overarching thing that, just almost overnight, data became the most precious resource in the world, surpassing crude oil. And we don't really understand data very well. We don't know how valuable our data is. And we're just sort of accustomed to getting a service for free from Facebook. And then they sort of do very tricksy stuff behind the scenes. And, this Brittany's revelations of what she did. I mean, if you don't mind, I mean, she doesn't toot her own horn that much at all. So I hope you don't mind that I do it a little bit for you. But once I learned just a little bit of the figures, it just blew me away so much. I mean, when she came out with her information, there were about 35,000 articles written about her in a day on consecutive days. And Facebook lost 120 billion in market value the day that information came out. And, now there's, what was it? Something like 5 million articles written about your association to this huge story that has such relevance to us all, with the woke armies and the things and the sort of polarization of society, and all of us and our families are actually deeply affected by this stuff. And now I have the sort of responsibility as well as the honor of turning that into art. It's Brittany's personal story and the greater aspect of it. And we're trying to make NFT art utilizing all of the technology available to us now, that being virtual reality, using artificial intelligence, augmented reality, voxels, motion capture, 360 cameras, everything. We're throwing everything in the fridge and our grandmother at it to kind of suck all of this amazing substance into artworks that will truly push the envelope of what can be done with NFTs and really make art that has relevance to us all.
Go ahead, guys.
That sounds only appropriate, just because the criticality of the messages that you are sharing, the messages that took place through the story that you personally lived, are absolutely deserving of all of the means we have to render them across mediums.
I completely agree. And I think one of the main points of the collection that we're putting together, and the collection is really not just an NFT collection, it's an AR, VR exhibit, and also big paintings that we're going to take on world tour. So obviously the NFTs are what we can put forth first before VESA comes over to Austin, Texas, for us to do a collaborative session sometime next month, where we're actually going to create all of this. It's really to find the most tangible and impactful way for as many people as possible to understand data, privacy, blockchain technology, how all of these things are interwoven, how we're actually going to use technology in order to solve the problems that legacy technology created, right? And that's what I really feel like a lot of my external story has been over the past 3 years since becoming a whistleblower, which is really to say, yes, technology created a lot of problems in the world, but it's going to be cutting edge and ethical technology built by my friends over here that can actually solve these problems of transparency and consent and permission structures and tracking and traceability and owning your data, being able to monetize your own value, empowering yourself. And that's why I've always been such a huge proponent of blockchain technology, because from the beginning, I really saw that, okay, there's a big unregulated data industry that is now the world's most valuable asset class, a multi-trillion-dollar industry being traded around the world, but we actually do have technologies to protect ourselves. We just need to get the right laws and regulations in place. We need to get mass adoption and for people to understand that you can find ways of actually owning your digital assets. You can find ways to harness your own value, and instead of everything being extracted from you, which in general has been how technology has been built over the past couple decades. So we're at this like critical pivotal moment where we can change all of that. So VESA and I are launching our big exhibition at the Dubai World's Fair in partnership with the Dubai Blockchain Center and also probably the Museum of the Future. And then we'll take that to Miami, to London, to New York, obviously. And it's supposed to be interactive, educational, inspiring for people to really start to land the plane about how important these issues are and to try to understand through art. Because what I really found was after making the great hack and getting nominated for a BAFTA, an Emmy, an Oscar, all of a sudden there's hundreds of millions of people around the world that saw this and for the first time understood how extractive the data industry is and how legacy technology was actually built to take things away from them as opposed to make them successful and empowered in life. And so here comes, blockchain technology and us describing to people what that can do for you and how that can empower you. And we're just so excited to be, launching the first exclusive collection today with you guys. Because it's going to be a big journey.
Let me say this, we're 3 minutes away actually from this, and people are going to be like, wait, what am I looking at here? Let me give everybody the URL so you can go here right now and see this piece, which is a piece, but it isn't the piece, but you can get the piece by getting this piece. Go to nifty.deals/art. It will take you to this page on Atomic Hub. This is a wax drop, nifty.deals/art. The name of the piece is We Owe You Art. And it's going to be a 21-minute open sale, one per person. VESA, what the hell are we looking at here?
Some minor innovation, I suppose. I mean, the whole thing of open editions for a limited amount of time is a blockchain native kind of thing, and it's very cool because there's a lot of different kinds of hot words and sort of buzzy things that you can say, but the open editions, what they truly do is that they do democratize art, because people might be unfamiliar with NFTs, they might be unfamiliar with digital art, but they've seen the secondary markets that these $200 pieces can easily flip 10x, 20x, 50x, whatever, in these types of ways. But I wanted to add to that thing. So I wanted to make this IOU, which is essentially what we're doing is a crowdfunding project. We need some resources in order to really do all of these things that we're saying and proposing, that, the virtual reality pieces and things like that. I'm currently working with one piece that has been taking 4 months to put together. And it's incredibly expensive. So what you get with this is this little piece that is a collectible in and of itself. You can just say, well, I was there, I got the piece and whatever. It's a cool little thing. But what it means is that once I fly to Texas, I go to Austin and we do some incredibly cool artwork, with this $200, you get this little thing that you can trade or keep or do whatever you want with it. But eventually what this will get you is, once we're done with the project, a really, really cool full-blown art piece. And we're going to make sure that it's something that is worth everyone's time and money. And it's a very affordable way, not only to support us, but also maybe, well, who knows what happened with it. So you're just going to have to take the risk if you do. And the cool thing about it is that, $200 is something that most people in NFTs can afford to sort of gamble with a little bit. But if you really put this whole story in context and what we can do, where we're going to launch this and how much attention it will get, it's pretty safe to say that it's probably a pretty good investment too.
7 seconds. Here we go, gang. Am I buying one? You're damn straight I am. Like, without a doubt. Here we go. And boom. Yep. Let's fund that project. Now I got the sweet NFT right here. And you guys, you're dealing with one of the pioneers of blockchain digital art. And you're dealing with the pioneer of freedom, liberty, owning your own data in an era where people are giving it away. The two of these together are an absolute powerhouse, and I really recommend that you grab one of these pieces right here. I can go see it in my wallet now, right? Let's go see.
And what's really cool about this being an open edition is that it's giving all of us an opportunity to participate in the proliferation of bringing people into this awakening where, by the default, with the rise of social media, we kind of assumed, I don't have ownership of this other aspect of me. I can just give this away freely. And helping the people to realize that actually we can claim ownership of that, and we have a way to fight for that.
Oh, I just noticed here that the MP4 has audio with it.
Oh yeah.
Hear this. We'll go full screen and let's turn on the audio. Here we go. Oh, that's high res, beautiful. The MP4.
I'm lucky that I share an initial with one of my favorite digital assets.
I gotta say, even if this was just the art, from my perspective, $200 for a VESA original is like, that's like, I'm gonna get something else mind-blowingly more super cool than this.
It's going to be something so much beyond. Like we're actually working with for the Juha here behind me is we're collaborating to do this drop for the Blue Wizard on wax, and we made this drop with you guys called the Genesis piece. What was it, a couple of weeks ago or something that we did this, and we kind of tried how far we can take video art and this kind of a concept, and we're pushing this from what we achieved with that, which we were pretty happy about. We're pushing this like 10 times further in multiple different ways. I mean, I had the fun playing a wizard in front of a green screen, and we're sort of making that thing come alive and telling a whole much more elaborate story this time. But in some sense, this is also a test run for the studio. It's a very cool commission piece, but we're also in rehearsing of what it is that we can do once we get this footage shot with Brittany in Austin. So we are very confident that we're gonna be able to drop some pretty cool art in your wallet, and this is, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So when you release the full piece, only the people that have this pre-sale piece will get that piece, is that right?
Yeah, correct. And only the edition that is now sold will ever be available to anyone. So this is exclusively for this very limited amount of time. And, we can't unfortunately say or even know at this point what this artwork will be, but we will make sure that it's a cool one, because we really appreciate everyone's help who now comes on board to help me fly and get all the, I mean, we have huge studios that we need to rent. We have big production crews. We have a very expensive equipment. I mean, this is a full-blown international scale collaboration where, it'll be expensive.
Zach, any questions for our illustrious guests?
Oh, I have so many questions. I'm not sure how directly related to this particular collaboration they are. I'm quite excited about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Go, ask whatever you want. You have their ears.
I'm so excited to hear, by the way, that you were the genesis of the Data Avenger.
There's
So
nothing
good.
more satisfying when we bring these fictional characters to life, that somebody who inspired one of them personally enjoys the representation that they themselves inspired. That's very gratifying. So I'm thrilled to know that you enjoy the character.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to add a little bit more color to that, I work with different groups of people on blockchain and digital asset legislation, privacy and data protection law, and I've started calling us the Data Avengers. My group of data rights activists and kind of blockchain legislative dorks, all of us that like to lobby on blockchain topics for fun. And I was so impressed by that characterization. I just started calling all of us the Data Avengers.
Love that. I'm going to share the action version of that card right here for those who haven't seen. You know, Series 1 had the original static Data Avenger with her little drone there and the different variations. But in Series 2 Titan packs, you have a chance to get this action card. And I freaking love it. It's so cool.
It's so cool. I love it.
Good boy.
And if you guys didn't notice, on her arm it says "Own Your Data." So my Own Your Data Foundation is a 501c3 charity, and we teach digital literacy education, mostly to parents and teachers that have young kids. But we also have professionals training, and we do high school and college lectures and things of that nature. So we teach people about their data rights and cybersecurity and how to protect themselves online, both for adults and kids. And proceeds from this project are going to go to that. So, so thank you guys, thank you everyone for getting in and getting involved early and helping us fund the creation of this massive project and exhibit.
You guys should be FOMOing like crazy on this. This is VESA and Brittany Kaiser. You're gonna spend $200 in wax to get this piece of art, and then they are going to blow your minds. I mean, and these two names are rising stars. VESA, I don't know if you're able to say anything yet about what's happening in your world, or some of the things you've told me. Are you able to share any of that publicly, or is it still?
Well, I'll tell you this. Actually, why not? We're always announcing cool stuff here.
Because you guys only have 13 minutes and 47 seconds to FOMO on this, and he's about to tell you something mind blowing. So listen in.
Well, this is why help altogether, I suppose, is important, and why we do appreciate anyone who collects this piece so much as well. And I promised to do a little bit of a name drop, because it was Mr. Ben Leff who introduced me to Brittany Kaiser. And sometimes the people who work behind the scenes, they don't get all the gratitude that they might deserve of putting things together and helping things out. And this thing now, what I'm about to tell you, was put together by Orna, this Finnish goddess who sort of helped me connect with this company called Varjo, which means shadow. And it's varjo.com. That's VARJO.com. And essentially, it's not even available for prosumers yet. It's the world's most advanced virtual reality headset. And essentially, it does XR too, because it has 3 cameras or 6 cameras at the front of it as well. And it's more of a surgical tool rather than a sort of VR Beat Saber type of fun thing. I mean, there's no latency. You can literally drive a car with those glasses that is on the road, and you might be somewhere else. And doctors across the world are using them in surgery and things like that. So it's really something extra special, and almost no one has these glasses. And they came to visit my studio just a while ago, and they partnered up with me. And we're some of this art that we're going to be doing is going to be only available via the most incredible pair of VR glasses ever. And it's because their resolution is 8,000 pixels, which is the same resolution as your eyes. After you hit 8,000, your mind won't know whether it's reality or if it's virtual reality. So if you have 8K productions inside of these glasses, it will feel like inside of this design like you're in reality. So I've been a fanboy of this company for such a long time. It feels like to me like I'm getting an early collaboration with an early Tesla or something like Apple. And Apple actually is one of their major purchasers, and Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all of these, Volvo, whatever, they're just singing their praises because this is such an incredible product that is just blowing everything else out of the water. So I'm incredibly privileged to say that they've joined our campaign to make something really, really cool happen. And yeah, that's the thing. Then going to also Dr. Marwan from the Dubai Blockchain Center is going to be an integral part of the physical exhibition part of this all. And like Brittany was saying, we're going to be going to Miami and with her credible network, we also have access to some really cool resources to make some good stuff happen. So is this causing FOMO to anyone? I mean, I'd be buying.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what was coming, and I also know some of the other things you've told me that you can't reveal yet. So I like FOMO'd in right away. And don't, you know, when can people expect the final piece to be delivered conservatively? Like if you were going to say, all right, by this date, it will drop into your wallet.
I would say it's not going to be more than 3 months on this one, because it's probably going to be one of the first ones that we make, and it's less. We haven't really decided, Brittany, when I'm coming over, but that might be quite soon. It might be in a couple of weeks that I'm flying to Austin.
Absolutely.
So
Texas is open for business, so
right. They need
come
to
on
be
over.
holding this though. If you sell this piece to somebody else, they're going to get the final piece. Right?
So sorry, I kind of missed that.
If you have to be holding this piece in your wallet in order to receive the final piece. So if somebody has this piece and they sell it to somebody else, that somebody else is going to get the final piece.
Yes, because it's tied to the blockchain address that has purchased this particular one. But if you guys don't mind, because I would just like to maybe bring and elevate Brittany even further with this, and just would you please kindly tell a little bit of the personal side of this incredible story of yours that we're turning, because it often, like, you talk about the big picture, and we talk about the big picture, it's compelling, but it's also for me, the motivation is so much about your personal experience on this as well. Would you mind sharing some of that stuff that we're going to be turning into art that might inspire people?
Yeah, absolutely. So my personal journey into working at a company like Cambridge Analytica is probably a bit different than what most people expect. If you read my best-selling book, you might know, but I was studying as a human rights lawyer for a lot of my life, and originally started getting into technology and data with political campaigning when I was quite young, but started really exploring the wider kind of like data-driven marketing using artificial intelligence for, you know, micro-targeted messaging and campaigns as a human rights campaigner. So I was working for big NGOs like Amnesty International, or even smaller charities that were all trying to learn how to use these technologies to get their message out. They were all doing positive human impact work, and I thought they should learn how to use all of these technologies that I suppose are mostly native to advertising industries. And as I was writing my PhD, which I was studying as a human rights lawyer, as I said, but I was looking at something called preventive diplomacy. And what that means is, how can you prevent crisis before it happens? So you make strong decisions based off of data in order to do that. How does a president or a prime minister stop a war from happening, for instance? It's usually about how much data you have access to, how early you have access to that data, how good the data scientists are that are using it, and you can read patterns and then be able to tell that something's going to happen and heat it off before it does. So that's what my whole PhD thesis was about. And I was at law school, where they don't teach you much about data science. So I had a friend of mine introduce me to the CEO of Cambridge Analytica, and I saw the incredible work that they're doing. And I thought, you know, this stuff is going to change the world. If you can put this in the hands of governments, if you can put this in the hands of human rights organizations, if you can make policy changes and make strategy decisions off of these types of data systems, we can make the world a better place so much faster. And so I decided to join that company in order to learn how to do that. The first project they ever showed me was, at the time, it was 2014, and a lot of young people in the UK were being recruited into ISIS at the time. And so they were doing this big data project for NATO, where they were finding loads of young people who were being recruited on social media to sneak themselves into Syria. And so they were using data to be able to see that these kids were likely to decide to attempt this because they were being recruited, and instead run counter propaganda communications to keep these kids home safe with their family and not joining a terrorist group, for instance, right? And so I thought, this is like insane, this is magical, I have to throw myself into it, and spent so many years traveling around the world trying to teach people how to use these tools, because I saw it as a net positive, as opposed to, I suppose, what some technologies are, which is just a tool. So if you're a good person, you can do something for good. And if you decide to abuse those tools, then, you know, some pretty bad things can happen, which is what I eventually found out, that like we as individuals, the people who produce the world's most valuable asset class, somehow don't have our human rights protected. Every single day, all of this personal information is being taken from us, and it's being used by whomever for whatever they want to use it for. It's not being used to empower us, and no one's trying to protect us from people using our personal information to target us. And so I becoming a whistleblower is probably one of the scariest things that you can ever do. Most famous whistleblowers end up losing their freedom, end up getting targeted, persecuted, in jail for the rest of their life, never able to travel again. And so, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. It's kind of like jumping off a cliff without knowing if you have a parachute, let alone if it works. But I felt like what I had to do was kind of stand up for all of us and stand up for the fact that technology can be used for good things, and that data itself is not an issue. It's just the way that the industry was designed, and that we have the opportunity to do something to change that. I think most of the people that are listening to this, and definitely the rest of the people that are on this show right now, know how important blockchain technology is to that story, which is that we actually have the power in our own hands to use technologies that protect us and empower us, as opposed to just being a source of value for big companies like Facebook, right? We can decide. Go ahead, please.
Kaiser.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
And the order is that because your life didn't get so screwed up, right? It's a great thing at the same time that you're not stuck in Russia or in some cell or whatever, things like that. But the revelation is of the same magnitude. And for 3 minutes only, gang, as Joel often says on the show, you can get this stuff. It's like it's history. It's really, we're turning this into NFTs. And for what's so weird for me is that what people find valuable in the NFT and crypto art space, and what sort of seems to glide, what we're trying to achieve here is such multifaceted value. And as we've talked with Joel many times before, and everyone is sort of so disappointed at the $150,000 bananas on a Miami gallery wall type of crap, and no one really believes art, and they go like, oh, it's just money laundering and it's just crap, people pretentious, whatever, this and that. Well, if you want to support something that is the polar opposite of all of that, significance to real people's lives, returning art's value as a segment of life that is relevant to all of us, here's your chance. $200, and you're probably going to make at least $2,000 back. So, you know, have a heart.
That's a big promise, but I hope you're right. And you know, here's the thing: the last sale we did, your one of one piece sold for $1,000. 21 of them were gone in a second. I couldn't get one. This is a $200 piece, gang, and you're going to get something that these two are putting their heart and soul into beyond this piece right here, which is cool on its own. So if you have it, I am not a financial advisor, but I believe in VESA and I believe in Brittany, and I believe they're going to over deliver. And I believe that people who don't get this, when they see the final piece, are going to go, shit, you mean in that last minute I had to get one of these? I didn't? What's wrong with me? What kind of brain damage must I have? Oh my gosh. Zach, I'm assuming you bought one.
Oh yeah, immediately. I was, of course, going for the number one, but I was a little slow on the draw with my inker. I actually do have a data question for Brittany.
Yeah,
Because you were just saying a lot of things I agree with. I had never heard of preventative diplomacy before. That was a really cool concept, and I'm thrilled that you introduced me to it. Now, obviously, none of us want to live through a crisis, and at the same time, a lot of us in the crypto space, especially, are very privacy minded. So, what I wanted to know was, do you see any potential conflict between those two desires, both to have full control of our own data and to try to use big data as much as is available in order to prevent crises before they occur?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I really see is, the concept of privacy is for us to be able to keep certain things private that we need to or we want to keep private. But everything else that doesn't need to be kept private, we can put those digital assets out there, and those can start to generate insights. They can generate.
Well, come back, Brittany. Come back. Come back to us. She frozen up for you
I was
too.
really excited about whatever she was saying.
Yeah, she was like about ready to get to the meat of it, and then she was like, "Oh, it's a cliffhanger, and we'll see you next week on the Nifty show." Okay, Brittany, we lost the last 30 seconds of you right there, so go ahead and repeat that, please.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I was wondering why you guys were frozen. But the entire point of protecting our privacy is so that things that we need to keep private, we can keep private. But we don't need to keep everything private. I think most of us in crypto are very happy to share certain data if we're going to reap rewards. I mean, it's really like staking our digital assets. We decide to put anonymous data sets about ourselves out there in the world, and all of a sudden we're just earning an income every single day just of having our digital assets out there for people to have access to. It doesn't need to be our personally identifiable information. It doesn't need to be certain information that we don't want to share with people, but our anonymized data sets that we safely and consensually decide to share can be generating exponential revenue every single day. And the more data inputs that we put out into algorithms doing decision making for companies, for governments all across the world, the more that we are actually contributing to a positive data economy. And that's really how I feel. Obviously, if people want to keep everything private, you can do that. But I really believe that once we're properly incentivized, when the incentive structures are flipped and we're actually given a reason, that we will participate in the data economy as opposed to withdrawing.
I've got a bunch of scrap data that's hanging around the back of my mind here with like junk data that I can sell off to you because I'm not using it. I don't want you guys to go yet. I want to get back to what we're talking about here. But first, I want to point out that we are about to release the first new Bitcoin designed by Sir Lord Travis Wright in the Bitcoin collection that goes along with the 2010 series that will be launching on the 21st of March. And in just a little bit, we'll show you what that piece looks like. It commemorates the 2010 January 3rd price of Bitcoin, which is 4 cents. However, if you want to get this drop, it's a 21-minute open edition. It is just 21 wax. We're combating the bots. It begins in 1 minute at, let me make sure I give you the correct URL here, nifty.show/baby, because Travis named this piece Baby Satoshi. There are the little babies running around there going, mama, 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 mama. So nifty.show/baby is where you'll be able to get this drop here. We're all going to fight for the number one. Zach will probably get a lower mint than me because he's always really, really good at that. But we'll show you the other piece here in a moment. 42 of you secured the We Owe You art piece, and I cannot wait to see what you two come up with that drops into our wallets.
Yeah, thanks everyone for collecting. I think you're gonna get incredible value for your investment. So thanks for participating and helping us out.
It's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely, thank you guys, and thanks for having us, Joel and Zach.
Awesome. I'm getting my little baby Satoshi. VESA, Brittany, thank you both so much. Of course, Own Your Data Foundation. The website is ownyourdata.org.
Ownyourdata.foundation.
Foundation. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And artforcrypto.com is where you will find VESA's work, and recommend that you guys go check that out. VESA, Brittany, thank you both so much, and congratulations on your Kickstarter today.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
Thank you so much, Zach and Joe. Cheers. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Travis, somewhere at the
good one.
airport. We appreciate
And Travis.
it at the airport somewhere.
And Travis.
Cool. Later, guys.
See ya. Zach, did you get your baby Satoshi?
I did get my baby Satoshi.
All right, it's a 21-minute open edition. The mints are flying right now, 72 purchased, and 1 per account. That's what we're doing now. And in fact, this is, I want to talk about, Zach, the encounter we had with the first Bitcoin collection sale. VESA's pieces, the $999 piece, the foundation went like that. I didn't get one. Did you get one?
I had to get one on the secondary market.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to go. I might have actually picked one up on the secondary. I can't remember if I did or not because so much is going on. And then we had our 21-minute open edition piece that was the trophy commemorating. And what we did is we allowed people to buy more than one. Well, I think that in a short-term perspective, that might have been an error, and here's why. When you're doing an open edition and you tell people they can buy as many as they want, there are some who go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to buy a bunch and then I'm going to flip them right away. But what those people weren't thinking is it's an open edition. Anybody who wants a piece right now can buy a piece. Right now, in the future, there's going to be those who miss that you might be able to flip it for a profit. But it doesn't make any sense if you've got a pool of this many people and then you're trying to sell it to the people that just bought it. And so the price of that initially has gone down. And I think it's because of that mentality.
You know, I suspect that just as the NFT world has been an introduction for me into any kind of real finance, it's been the same for a lot of other people. And there's two disproportionately influential, disproportionately lucrative NFT companies that I think have trained a lot of us into this sort of unhealthy mindset that ends us up losing out by trying to flip. And those would be Nifty Gateway and NBA Top Shot. You know, tons of the people who are on both of those sites, myself included, don't actually necessarily care about the things that we're buying, but we've seen things flip for 20, 30, 100x, and we want a piece of that. And then we think, oh, well, anytime something appears to be this scarce or this luxury, I can apply the same principle there. And that's just not the case.
It's not how it works. So here's how we're modifying this for the March 21st sale. I'm going to show you the piece here first. This is from our hero report the other night. And this is not the final GIF. This is an MP4. The final one will loop, but you can see right here, this is the January 3rd, 2010 piece with Bitcoin at the price of 4 cents. And I feel like this is leveled up. Now there's going to be 2 of these, one of them with let me play this again, one with the white little baby Satoshis behind it and one with gold. And what'll happen is you'll have an opportunity to buy one within the 21-minute period. And that's it. We're going to limit it to 1 per wallet. This is for collectors. This is not necessarily for flipping. However, if you are going to flip, you have a better chance of flipping that one than you do if you have multiple, because there will be people that miss out on the sale, and there will be people in the March and the April sale and the May sale and the June sale that are going to see that there's fewer of these. But I'm keeping all of mine. There will be 2 of these. You will purchase a token that then entitles you to a drop of a random number of one of 2 different NFTs. So there's actually going to be 2 number ones in this set.
So in a way, we've actually done 2 separate favors for people who are looking to flip, because on one hand, the supply is going to be much closer to the actual demands than it was for the last release. And on the other hand, people who are serious collectors and who wants to get their hands on both of the unique versions of this, there's going to be a higher demand across the board, at least on paper.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. And look at the reflection in the marble. I love the base of this. So, what I can't wait to see all of them from each year lined up, at the Bitcoin price next to each other, and January 3rd, 2022, where it's like 100,000 or something crazy like that. That's just going to have to be people dancing around it, celebrating or something.
Can we talk about the artist piece that we'll be releasing?
So here's what we've decided, and you didn't know about this, is that what we've decided is that the limited edition artist piece we're going to do every other month.
Okay.
So every month will be the commemorative piece where you can purchase one during a 21-minute period, and every other month will be the limited edition 21 pieces. But you could talk about who's doing that for next month.
I can't remember who it was. I have two names in my mind.
Pumayana is doing.
Okay,
it.
excellent.
Yeah.
He produces is just a grand slam. I love his work. I love what he did on the collector's editions and the mythic borders in Blockchain Heroes. I love his own independent Bitcoin work. It's all beautiful stuff.
He's so talented. So that's going to be part of the April 21st, but mark your calendar for March 21st at 12 noon Eastern, where you'll be able to get this piece, and you still have a few minutes left to get this one right here, the baby Satoshis. It's, you can see why it's this. It's a precursor to the main event that takes place on the 21st. It is only 21 wax, $4.95, one per account. And that's why we see lower numbers now, is because people who previously would have bought 5 of them can only buy one. And I like this limited edition sense, restricting it so that, you could do another wallet if you want to, but most people have one wallet, and it's saying, behave yourself, buy one, be a collector. Besides, this is not like it's an expensive piece. I mean, this is really a good deal. What else did I want to talk about?
There's so much to talk about. Are you kidding me?
There is. I know we're already over an hour. I don't want to keep people around too long. So what's on your mind? Tell me what you're thinking.
There's two big things that are on my mind. One is Quid announcing that they are going to be blockchainifying, because that's enormous. And the other is the overwhelming sense of how the music industry is now exploding into the blockchain space. Okay, I have one of my, I'll call him a normie friend because he's not really into blockchain, actually share with me that there were these NFTs being released for the late musical artist MF Doom. And you know what? I'll just share my screen here so I can show these off. At app.illust.space, there are these MF Doom masks. This is like the artist's personal brand, his sort of icon. And down here,
wow.
I saw that one was going for 600 ETH, so I'm not sure why it's back down to 200. But they've got all of these different versions, and then they're doing a one-of-one auction on the Black Sludge. Now, before a week ago, I never would have thought that this would show up. And this is a sign to me that it might be that the music industry is one of the major vectors through which a lot more people are going to be onboarded, not just in the NFTs, but in the blockchain.
Yeah, it's coming. And, like I said at the beginning, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I can't remember what I told people, is that we've had this week multiple conversations with people in the entertainment industry, including the president of a major record label, tour managers for major bands. We're talking A-lister stuff, and stuff is happening really fast. And I don't know who exactly we're going to be working with to help them build out their NFTs. There are one we talked to yesterday felt like they wanted to rush something to market, and Travis and I were like, nope, we're not going to do that. You're either going to do it right with us, or you're going to go rush it and do it wrong with somebody else. But we're not interested in a money grab. We're interested in providing value and quality. We're talking about a big name too. They were like, we were talking about getting something out for Monday. I'm like, that is just that. Oh, don't do that. Why? Oh, because the iron is hot. This iron is barely warm. Just because everybody's talking about it right now, it's still heating up. This thing is at the beginning. You have time to do it right. For the love of God, please do it right.
Especially if you want people to actually know about what it is that you're doing.
I can't stand another money grab. So what Zach said is true. The Quid app, if you don't have this yet, the app is did you get it on Android too?
Yeah, it's on both
Yeah.
iPhone and Android. Yeah.
iPhone and Android. They have, let me read to you the licensing brands that they have in their marketplace. Archer, Bob's Burgers, Breaking Bad, Dr. Seuss, Firefly, Marvel, Adventure Time, Capcom, Care Bears, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Funko Pop, GameStop, Mickey Mouse, Jurassic Park. Are you getting the picture? Rick and Morty, the list goes on. These are all collectibles that people are purchasing in the app with real money and coins that you earn in the app. But Animoca Brands has purchased Quid, and they are blockchainifying the whole thing. So
we
that
need to remind people who Animoca Brands is, though, because they're responsible for the gigantic F1 NFT game that's been running for a while. The barrier to entry on their F1 game is so freaking high. Even I'm not a part of it, but they've already seen colossal success in the NFT space.
Yeah, they're very serious about this. And Travis and I have been fortunate to be advisors with Animoca, and they've sponsored Bad Crypto. And we love Yatsu, the CEO over there. He is so visionary. And they are going to be, I believe there's going to be a token offering on Quid, pretty sure. And I don't know what's public and what information they've released or not, but pretty sure there's a token associated with it. And we're looking forward to seeing where they go with this. So that is big news. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, not financial advice, just a suspicion that I have, that if they are going to turn the existing collectibles that people in the Quid app have, if they are going to turn those one for one into NFTs, the value of existing collections, people who have just been casually using the app, is suddenly going to.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing. If you go look in the app, you can find a lot of first edition items in there, cards. You can find stuff from Panini, like Travis was saying, he was picking up LeBron James cards for $6, first edition cards with only a few thousand mint. People on Top Shot are paying 5 figures for those, and Travis is scooping them up for $6 thinking these could be really valuable. So you can go through your favorite brands on Quid and drop, harmless money on some of these, and maybe they turn into something, maybe they don't. But personally, I've spent a few $100 in there. I'm betting that they do. I hope I'm right.
I hope you're right too.
Because that would be cool. The other thing I want to let you guys to know is the Hero token, which we have been giving away on Nifty Show and Bad Crypto, is now on Uniswap. And our Discord is now live. We're moving a lot of our engagement and interaction from our Telegram to our Discord because we have a members area. And if you're holding 50 Hero, you get into the members area. We've already had a couple great masterminds. We're airdropping tokens to people. We're having fun, and we're just getting started. I had a talk with a developer today about adding some really cool features in our Discord that no other Discord has. And just like, if you guys trust that what you've seen us pioneer so far is going to be applied to future stuff, then go get some Hero so that you have access to this. You can get it on Uniswap. So I think, and if you just go to our Discord, there's an open room for everybody, badco.in/Discord. Will get you into that place. In fact, I want to show this off. So you guys want to see a super sexy NFT? Look at this piece that I had commissioned by art by Alex. We've only minted 100 of these, and we're going to make them available in a limited supply on the Wax blockchain to hold in your Wax wallet, but they're not going to be sold on Wax. You're going to only be able to purchase them with Hero. I think one Hero is about 20 cents right now. So if you go to tryroll.com, you could find the Hero token there and be able to stack them up so that you're ready for when we do the sale of these very unique, very limited Nifty Show 3D cards.
Super cool. I love the shadows in the background.
I love that both Travis and I are skinnier in the Chain Clash reimagination of what we look like. And I love, if you look in the back, you could see, Blockchain Heroes and Bitcoin Collection, and the Genesis Trophy is spinning. It's like there's
actually a couple cards that are so off to the side you can only see them for just a split second because they're at the very edge.
Right. It's like out the window over there. You're like the wizard. You can see the wizard there. There he goes. And on the other side, as it spins in, you could see Mr. Wick for just a second. Very fun. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not at the moment.
So much happening, gang. By the way, the podcast version of this show, which is the replay without the video, is exploding. The show is now in the top 100 of Apple's business investing category. Bad Crypto is around number 60 or 70, and this show peaked in at like number 95. I think it's at like 101 right now, but the numbers keep going up. So thanks to those of you who are reviewing the show, who are downloading and listening to the podcast version. I'm going to get moved, settled into my new digs. Next week, the Hero Report will be live from new digs. The Nifty Show will be live from there. Travis will be recording from Europe. I'll be recording from my new location, and we have a lot of work to do. So we appreciate all of you tuning in. Zach, thanks for stepping in for Sir Lord Travis today.
Thanks for having me on today. Appreciate it.
We need to make you a Scottish landowner too.
I can't say I'm not interested.
I mean, don't you want to be Sir Lord Zach Com?
I wonder if there's another way to do that, or if there's another.
You could be talking with a Scottish accent and say, "I'm a landowner. Get off my property." All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you.